Hello everyone, welcome to Shifting Gears and welcome inside the new for 2024 Kia Carnival Limousine, and prices start at rupees 63.9 lakh ex showroom. So yes, prices have gone up, but this new Kia Carnival Limousine is larger than ever. Kia has actually skipped one generation of the Carnival here for the Indian market. This is the new generation Carnival in its facelift avatar. We had the old generation Carnival. This new generation in its pre-facelift avatar, it did not make it to the Indian streets. So that is that. And Kia says that with all the advancements that this new generation Kia Carnival is offering us, that is the reason why the pricing has shot up to such an extent. But is it still a good car to drive? Is it still a good family car? We are going to find out just that in this very detailed drive review video. We have one separate video where we speak about the exterior design of this car. Then we have another separate video which is really exhaustive and long, where we speak about the interior cabin of this new Kia Carnival Limousine. So now is a good time to subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel, press that bell icon so that you are notified every time we upload a video for you, so that you can make an informed car buying decision. Now, this Kia Carnival Limousine is available in the Indian market only in a diesel automatic avatar. First, let us speak about the engine specifications. Now, powering this Kia Carnival, this huge Carnival Limousine is a 2.2 litre turbocharged diesel engine, and this is mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox with a 2-wheel drive configuration only. This 2.2 litre turbo diesel engine produces 193 PS of power and 441 Newton meters of torque, and Kia claims that this big car can deliver 14.85 kilometers per litre of fuel efficiency. Also, this engine has seen a lot of advancements. It is now lighter too, because you now get an aluminium engine block instead of a cast iron block. And the improved 8-speed automatic is now more durable in terms of its life, and it is also more efficient. Now, looking at the size of this vehicle, you might think that it is going to be very slow, but that is not the case. 0 to 100 km per hour can be achieved in 10.7 seconds, which for a car of this size is quite reasonable. But is that really true? Does this Kia Carnival Limousine feel fast when you accelerate it hard? Let us find out. For that, what I'm going to do is deactivate auto hold. I am now going to switch to sport mode, and to change between these drive modes, to switch to eco, normal, sport or smart mode, you have a button over here. And now in 3, 2, 1, full pedal to the metal. Quite some wheel spin because we were on a dusty patch. But listen to the engine, and we have already touched 100 kilometers per hour, even though we are on an incline patch. Going to test out the acceleration one more time. So again in sport mode, and in 3, 2, 1, full pedal to the metal. No wheel spin this time. Listen to the engine. We have already now touched 100 kilometers per hour, and it is pulling strongly. You do feel that sense of urgency if you have the throttle pedal completely pressed, if you are driving pedal to the metal. And for a car of this size, it does pack enough linear punch, and it doesn't feel slow by any standards. But let us now drive in a more sensible fashion. First, let's speak about the NVH package of this vehicle. Now, Kia says that this is going to be your own luxury liner. This can offer you a business class like comfort inside the cabin. But is that true? Let us find out. So, right now I'm driving at close to 70 kilometers per hour. I'm out on the highway on the outskirts of Bangalore. At this speed, out on the highway, no engine noise that is creeping inside the cabin. I am effortlessly cruising. Also, the road surface is a little granular, but still there is not too much of tire noise or road noise that is heard inside the cabin. So Kia has definitely worked hard in terms of insulating that kind of road noise, tire noise inside the cabin, and even the engine noise is not something that is going to disturb you. If I kick the pedal, trying to accelerate a slow moving vehicle, yes, you do hear that diesel engine kind of a sound inside the cabin, but the clatter is not so loud that it is going to maybe disturb your passenger's comfort. He or she, the passenger or the owner of this vehicle, they might not really complain about it because it is still in well control. So in terms of NVH, I think the Kia Carnival is doing a fine job, especially at highway speeds. Even when we were crawling inside the city, maybe at the initial slow crawl speed, at that time you might feel the engine noise is on the louder side, but that is typical, and it just becomes quieter as you pick up pace, and it offers you a nice and comfortable ride. So NVH, no problem, no real complaints. The next point which I want to speak about is the overall driver's point of view, because that is very important. This is a really long, really wide, really tall vehicle. This is a mega comfortable 7-seater in a 3-2-2 layout starting from the back. So 3 seats at the back in the third row, 2 seats, captain seats in the second row, and 2 seats over here in the front. So you can call it a 3+2+2 or 2+2+3, whatever you would like to call it. But overall, in terms of driver's ease, this is absolutely brilliant. This is the first time that I have stepped inside the new Kia Carnival Limousine. I was not there at the launch. I am here straight at the drive, and as soon as I sat behind the wheel, I was instantly at home, because knowing the car did not take too long. Understanding all 4 corners of this vehicle in terms of maneuvering it did not take too long. And of course, you have this 360-degree camera support as well to help you understand the vehicle, where it is going, how it is moving, so that you can drive it nicely and safely. So I'm seated at the lowest driver seat setting. This is the amount of headroom that is available. I'm 5 feet 8 inches in height, and I have a good view of everything around me. The mirrors are nice and wide. The inside rear view mirror is also very classy looking. It is rimless, frameless, looks beautiful, and this doesn't really offer you an SUV-like commanding driving seat position. Of course, you can jack up the seat height, but the bonnet is sloping. It is not flat, typical of an SUV. So you don't really see the bonnet shut line. So that is something that I'm telling you in all honesty. This is not an SUV. This is an MPV. This is a family MPV. But in terms of fit, finish, visual appearance, and perceived quality, it looks top class, top notch. Not a single panel that has rattled throughout my review drive experience today, and everything in terms of ergonomics is spot on too, except for this touch sensitive AC panel, which will require you to get your eyes off the road to touch the right spot. So that is the only thing that I can maybe nitpick about, but it is not really a problem. And the touch panel, this AC control, this climate control, it is very well done, because it has an integrated setting for your rear AC vents too, and it pops up suddenly when you want to control that setting. So that is very good. The UI UX, the overall user interface for even this touchscreen infotainment, even that is brilliant in this new Kia Carnival. So in terms of ease of use, I mean, this is a big car, but it doesn't feel like it. It is really long, it is really wide, but you won't really feel that it is problematic. I drove through narrow by-lanes when I was driving towards Isha Foundation on the outskirts of Bangalore, but it was easy to manage. Of course, if there were 2 Kia Carnivals coming towards each other, that could have been a problem, because the road was quite narrow and this is a big car. Now, the next point that I want to talk about is practicality. Now, that is also very important. We will get to performance in a bit, but just have a look at this. 2 mega-sized cup holders, bottle holders on the center console. I mean, you find cup holders, small bottle holders in any other car, but here you can easily place 2 1-liter bottles Beyond that, you have this mega sized storage bin where you have a wireless charging pad where you can charge the largest of smartphones available in the industry. And then you have another storage bin over there next to it where you can again keep smartphones, your car keys, or whatever that you are carrying. And then you have this mega storage bin which is really deep, and there is another storage space in front of that too. So everything is very nicely carved out, and there are plenty of utility storage spaces and niches which are going to be functional in your ownership. Now let's get to the driving bit. So as you can notice, I have a bus which is driving slowly. I'm in sport mode, kicking the throttle pedal, easy to overtake. You might have thought that this is a big car and it might be slow, lethargic to respond to your throttle input, but that is absolutely not the case. But some might say that of course you are in sport mode, so it is going to respond that way. So for you guys who don't believe us, we will now switch to eco mode. In eco mode, you of course know what the car is going to do. So you have a total of 4 modes: eco, normal, sport and smart. So of course, it is now self-explanatory. A lot of cars have drive modes. Eco is going to be for optimum efficiency. Normal is the best mix of all worlds. Sport mode is when the engine is going to rev higher up. It is going to hold on to a gear for a longer time so that you get better acceleration should you demand it. And then smart mode is going to understand the driving situation and offer the best drive and handling characteristic for this Kia Carnival. So now I am in eco mode. I am following a truck which is slow, kicking the pedal. Check this out. Even on an incline patch, the vehicle is accelerating with good urgency and no problems in terms of the gearbox responding as soon as I got on the throttle. Again, one more time, there is another truck, so I'm slowing down. Check this out. As soon as I get on the gas, no problem at all. And if at all you notice that the engine is revving higher up and you don't want that kind of engine noise inside the cabin, just make use of the paddle shifters and upshift to the higher gear and you will have a quieter cabin. This is an 8-speed automatic gearbox. There is no Tiptronic functionality over here on the gear console. Shift by wire technology with this Kia Carnival, a rotary knob, that's it. But for manual control over the engine and gearbox, you have paddle shifters and they are reasonably sized and they are perfectly positioned too. The steering wheel too is of the right size. It is not too small, so it justifies the size of the car. So you feel like you're driving a big car. So check this out. Tap the pedals and the gearbox, it responds, but it responds with a slight delay. So that is something that you will have to live with. So when I'm driving right now, if I downshift, the downshifts also take a split second, and when I upshift, it takes almost a second to make that gear shift. But when I'm doing this, I'm not necessarily feeling any head nod when these gear changes are happening. But what I need to mention is that when you are under hard acceleration, when you are really driving pedal to the metal in sport mode, for example, at that time the upshifts, you will feel it because the engine is trying hard to propel you forward, to push this heavy metal forward, and that gearbox is trying to give you all that power and torque, push it down onto the wheels and give you that kind of acceleration. So only at that time will you feel the gear changes. It is not really jerky, but you will feel that momentum change. So that is something that I'm telling you in all honesty. I don't think anybody else will mention this. But nobody is going to drive a Kia Carnival, a car of this size, that way. If you're going to be effortlessly cruising, where this car will, look right, the way that it is going to be driven when you drive it nicely and in progressive manner, the gear shifts are seamless and there is absolutely no head nod. I'm going to demonstrate that to you right now. So I'm going to pull over to the shoulder, and this time I will accelerate part throttle and I will stay in eco mode. I will not switch to sport mode, and I'm not going to rest my head on this headrest. Alright, so check this out. Coming to a standstill, I am in eco mode. Auto hold is deactivated. So what I'm going to do is just get off the brake pedal right now, and as you can notice, the vehicle is crawling under 10 kilometers per hour. Now I'm getting on the gas and I'm gently tapping that throttle pedal. The gear changes are happening, the gear shifts are smooth, picking up pace. We are over 40 kilometers per hour right now, and the upshifts are not at all noisy. The engine is not at all noisy. When you are driving in such a format, if someone is having a nap in your vehicle, they will not hear the engine noise creep in at all, and no jerks, no head nod, very comfortable. So this engine and gearbox, when you drive it in this fashion, it's going to give you the best comfort, and it is going to be very, very convenient, and it suits the overall characteristic of this vehicle. This is not a sports car. This is not really an SUV. This is not meant to be driven hard and fast and be chucked around a corner. That is not what this is meant to do. And when you know that, when you respect that, and when you drive accordingly, this will keep you pleased and comfortable at all times. Now, the next point to speak about is the steering wheel. You now have an electrically assisted steering wheel with this new Kia Carnival. Check this out. There is not too much of a dead area in the center. Does the steering respond immediately? Not so much. And you feel some, pull after you have given a certain amount of an input. But it doesn't really feel too odd, and it doesn't really feel too vague. You do get a sense of what the wheels are doing reasonably, and for a car of this size, if you want to very quickly make lane changes, if at all you are going to make any emergency maneuvers like this is not going to be scary at all. Check this out. If I very quickly make a lane change, the Kia Carnival with this steering setup, it is offering me decent comfort and confidence for me to, avoid any obstacle, for example, out on the streets, and even over undulations. And when I suddenly make a lane change, absolutely no problem at all. Of course, when you're going to do this, now this is a long, tall, wide vehicle. There is body roll. You will feel that there is slight delay when the rear end responds to what you are doing with the steering wheel and the front wheels. So that is obviously going to be there on a car of this size, but it is still manageable, and it is still not at all scary. Of course, you have all the latest electronic safety features to keep the car in your control, so that will ensure safety for you and for other road users. The steering wheel, it doesn't feel heavy at all. Check this out. If I quickly pull over to the shoulder, check this out. At a standstill, single-handed operation, not at all heavy. Check this out. One finger operation, not at all heavy. So if you are going to share this vehicle with your friends and family, with your elderly family members, or someone who's young, who's just learning to drive, he or she, nobody will find this cumbersome. It doesn't require a lot of effort. And because of that, this is going to be an easy car to drive, but maybe a difficult car to park, because you need to find so much space to park a car this long. So now, the next point is comfort and ride quality. I have been driving this car since morning. I have driven it over 100 kilometers so far, and the good thing is that the ride quality is nice and flat. There is not too much of vertical movement. Even when you give sudden steering inputs, check this out. The body roll, the twitch is not to the point that it is scary. Because of that, the ride quality is really good. Even if you are going to be seated in the second or third row, you will not complain that the ride quality is jerky. There are not too many thuds that you will feel inside the cabin. When we were driving over a rough patch, really broken patch and really bumpy, the articulation was also not too bad for a car like this with such a long wheelbase. Not even once did it scrape the underbelly area or the bumper lips. So good ground clearance too. And speaking about the ride quality, when we drove over that bumpy patch, The suspension did a very fine job. There was no thud heard inside the cabin, even with such large wheels. Of course, if you drive like you are driving an SUV, then this will not be in its element. At that time, you might feel that the suspension is being abused a bit too much and the car is not comfortable doing so. But then you are doing the wrong thing with the wrong car. This car is not meant to do that. Otherwise, on the highway, flat. At high speeds, nice and flat. And even inside the city limit, driving over a speed breaker, there is no jerk and there is no, movement which will unsettle you in the seat. So if you are the owner of this vehicle, seated in the master seat in the second row, you will not feel that this car is uncomfortable and that maybe you need to own another car, because of course you can afford it if you can spend such big bucks to bring home the Kia Carnival. And now when I'm driving it hard, when I'm accelerating hard and fast, and check that out, there is a speed breaker. When I get on the brakes, the ride quality is not soft to the extent that there is going to be too much of a nosedive. So that also will keep you happy in the cabin. And because there is not too much of a movement that is happening on a car of this size, it will not make you nauseatic. So this can be a good family car for really long road trips. And check this out, when I'm driving hard and fast, I am over 120 kilometers per hour right now. Good ride quality, very stable ride quality, and it feels like it can do this for hours without breaking a sweat. And even if we had to encounter corners, this will not throw any tantrums. And right now when I have to slow it down, the brakes are also nice and progressive, and like I mentioned, no nosedive over a speed breaker, no thuds. So a job well done. Now the pricing is the only thing that can maybe make or break the deal for a few customers, because what the old car was asking for, this is asking a hell lot of more money. But it is bigger, it is better, and to some people it might make sense. And there is this void in the market where this new Kia Carnival is now slotting in, because there is no direct competition. So it is what it is, and to each his own. Speaking about the brakes, I found them to be adequate. The braking bite is also nice. It is not too sharp, and I really like it, because if in a family car of this size, of this height, if it was too sharp, it could have resulted in a very weird kind of a movement, and it could have unsettled the occupants. So this braking setup, all 4 disc brakes, it is good enough. It is a very hard car to fault, this new Kia Carnival. It is just that it is expensive. That is it. Then the next point to speak about is the level 2 ADAS features package. Radar at the front, radar at the back. Of course, you have camera assistance, and you have all the standard ADAS features. 23 ADAS features if I'm not wrong, and the lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, lane departure warnings, all of that standard fare now. It works flawlessly, no complaints. All you need is a well marked lane out on the highway or inside the city limit. But what I would like to insist on and stress on is that if you are driving on a single lane road with two-way traffic, just don't leave everything to ADAS. Be smart, that is there for assistance. You are the driver. The car is not driving by itself. Now at a standstill, by the way, this vehicle, of course, it has auto hold functionality. Check this out, release the brake. The vehicle did not start off by itself. But now I have got a notification that the lead vehicle has departed. And now I have pressed the throttle pedal and now I am moving forward. So all of these features definitely add to your overall convenience, especially in bumper to bumper traffic. Also at a standstill, this car doesn't have that auto start stop functionality to save fuel, because if you're spending over 75 lakhs, you don't really care of fuel efficiency, or do you? Because you might care of fuel stops, if not fuel efficiency. And since we are on the topic of fuel efficiency, let me tell you that throughout my review drive experience, this Kia Carnival has managed 10.3 kmpl. Now that includes some spirited driving, some hard acceleration. We drove it through narrow lanes, driving towards Isha Foundation, and now we are out on the highway, and we also drove around the Bangalore airport area. So 10.3 kmpl is not bad, but this does include highway driving. If you will drive only inside the city for daily office commutes, fuel efficiency can be in single digits. But then it is a diesel. Out on the highway, efficiency should not be a problem, and with so many passengers, the unit economics should work for you. So that is it, guys. That is all that I want to share with you about this new Kia Carnival Limousine from my first drive experience. It has been quite an impressive review because I did not expect this car to drive so well. Because for a car of this size, it is quite easy to manage it, and it is quite impressive. Is it impressive worth the price? That is for you to decide. If you are going out for a road trip with your friends and family, and if you are driving this vehicle, and if you want to have some fun, if you want to, adjust the seats, you can maybe just heat or cool the seats for the front and rear occupants from this infotainment, but you can't really adjust the seat back angle. You can do that if you are at a standstill and maybe at a signal when you have engaged park mode. So some party trick, some fun that you can have with on your road trips. And like you are noticing, this vehicle has a nice curved display for your speedometer and your infotainment screen. Looks very nice, crystal clear even under such harsh lighting. No reflections, good contrast, very legible fonts, and then wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Thank you God for no wired connectivity in expensive cars. So till next time, subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel, press that bell icon, always drive safe, and always, guys, wear your seat belts.